Jelaila Star, and welcome to my weekly message. Today I want to talk about something that I call the mind scramble that's happening. It seems to be happening to more than just me. In fact, it's happening with people very close to me that I know. So I want to give you the symptoms and see if maybe this is something that you're experiencing, and if we get enough responses, then maybe we'll know this is far more reaching than and it is a sign of the times, and then how to deal with it. The mind scramble is where you try to wake up in the morning, you feel you're just really off. You can't figure out why, but you just feel, mentally and emotionally off. And you can't complete a thought. It's like you try to, but it just kind of gets scrambled and goes into to oblivion or space or whatever. And you can't. So when you can't complete a series of thoughts, like think through a project, it's like, forget it. I just can't do this today. And sometimes you notice that you have a nervous stomach, you can't eat, you just feel really off base, off centered, and it's, we get that once in a while, but it seems to be really challenging. I mean, it's like a strong sense of these symptoms occurring. And then, a couple of days later, you wake up and you're fine. So what is that? Well, my theory is, at this point it's just a theory, is that it is a result of an increasing amount of earth changes and natural man-made catastrophes that are hitting us in waves. For example, we've had a recent wave of the volcano in Iceland, canceling over 100,000 flights. Imagine all the people who were affected by that around the world, who were going through those European countries or had to connect through them in their travels. Then in the United States, we had the Gulf oil, the spill, the oil rig out there that kind of blew. And yeah, there is talk about that being a North Korean submarine that did that. But I'm not going to get into that. You can go do your research on it. But there seems to be pretty reliable sources speaking to that, and they squelched that information here in the United States. But that is creating havoc here. It's affecting the coastline areas, and they haven't capped it yet. Now I think it's pumping like 5,000 gallons a day. This oil slick is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just going to have long-term effects, especially on the fishing and shrimping industry and the Gulf area cities. And on a portion of that will have a chain reaction, ripple effect, and into the rest of the economy in the South and beyond. So that's creating major stress for people, major anxiety. So you got those two. And then just recently we had a wave of storms here in the United States that went through and dumped 13 inches of rain in the South, in the Tennessee area, Nashville getting 13 inches in one day. Not that I know of, have we had a storm that severe where you dump 13 inches in one day. It has had devastating effects. And once again, the media is downplaying it, but I think because it's so severe. But we're just having these catastrophes one after another that are going on, and they're happening in clusters, it seems like. And we don't seem to have enough time, sort of like, when a woman gives birth, when the birthing pains get close to when you get closer and closer and you're dilated to like 8 centimeters, the contractions come so quickly that you don't have your time to really catch your breath, and so your anxiety and your stress just builds and builds and builds. And when we're stressed and anxious, we don't think properly. We can't seem to think through a thought because we're caught in a survival mode. And when we're in survival, our brain shuts off and we go into primal mode and we act. So I think this is going on. When these clusters hit, it pumps tons of anxiety and fear into the mass consciousness. And we all know about the hungry monkey syndrome. When enough people do something one way, then everybody starts to do it, whether consciously or unconsciously. They just pick it up and they do it. It's like a huge program. And everybody is a software developer, and whatever they pump into that program It's what everybody eventually begins to do. So we have these clusters where we're pumping a lot of stress and anxiety into the grid, and everybody's beginning to feel it. And that creates like an oil slick, if you will, in the mass consciousness. So when you're trying to connect up, whether anything's going on in your life that would make you anxious, you're feeling this low-level anxiety, and you're also noticing that on certain days when it's extremely difficult, that this thing is really ramped up, you can't get a thought up there and then back down without being scrambled through because of this field. And that in itself creates anxiety because you know you should be functioning better. So we actually add to and increase the size of this field. So this is what I'm noticing, and it is a sign of the time. So what to do about it? Well, if you understand that this is the way it is when you're 2 years from crossing through a field of energy and cycles are ending and we're having to dump as much baggage as we can, all these things force us to dump, but it does create these kind of situations. So I think the idea of understanding this is the way it would normally be. It's like you can't give birth, naturally without going through contractions. You just don't do it. Something's got to push the baby out. Well, something's got to push us out of where we are into where we want to be. And so it's very normal. So it would be good for those of you who are here to be the way showers and the calm voices of reason to get that information out. If you can if you feel this and you can validate this, then get it out to the people that you know, and it will help them understand that this is just the way it is. Breathe through it. Continue to do your emotional clearing, and understand that when you have those days of anxiety, it is going to be the norm for a while, and it will come in clusters, and then you'll get through it. You will get through it. So hopefully this will help. I will be doing the workshop to help those of you who are to be the way showers. Just a rundown of the schedule. May 22nd in Seattle, Washington, June 19th in Nyack, New York, August 14th here in Kansas City, Kansas, Missouri, Kansas, doesn't matter, all the same city, and let's see, Raleigh, North Carolina, October 16th, and we're still working on September, either for Florida or Pennsylvania. So, with that said, I'll talk to you next week. Hang in there, and we will get through this. And I guess that's it. Take care. Bye-bye.